This episode is made possible by the support we get from Fort Collins Kia. If you are in the market for any electric Kia, not only do they never add market adjustments, they will deliver your car to you anywhere in the 48 contiguous states for out-of-spec viewers. More information in the link in the show notes. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Out of Spec podcast. You catch me here again on our little corner of the internet talking about electric vehicles. My name is Francie, and I am joined by my colleague, Jordan, who's calling in from Colorado. Is there still snow on the ground there?
Yes, the snow by my house. Well, actually, the ground is relatively dry, but I still have a snow pile 4 feet high in front of my garage, so I can barely get out.
You got to keep that supply for the snowball fights, of course.
Exactly. That's how I interact with my neighbors. But I am glad to be back in Colorado, but I do miss Spain, which is where I was recently testing none other than the Taycan Turbo GT, which is just the coolest thing since, I don't know, that I lost my metaphor there, but it's cool.
The coolest thing since the Porsche Taycan. So Jordan was on the podcast last week talking about the Porsche Taycan, the same trip he went to Spain. But there were two things, there was the Porsche Taycan refresh, the mid-cycle refresh, all the details about that. We've covered that a lot on the Out of Spec channel. It's a really impressive electric vehicle and would love to know what y'all think about it. And now today, we were discussing the Taycan Turbo GT, which is a high-performance variant of the Taycan, which seems crazy to say because the Taycan is already high performance. So how does it get even more high performance? That is what Jordan is going to talk about today, and his experience driving it, with the upgrades and enhancements, and all the things that make it different from just the typical Taycan. So Jordan, where do we want to start?
I guess we could start by just looking at it. I'm sharing my screen here for our visual watchers, but for our listeners, picture a Taycan, and actually that's basically what it looks like. Now this one pictured here is with the optional Visoc package, which adds more aero and actually removes the back seat. So the joke we kind of kept making at this event was it's basically a GR Corolla Maurizio edition, but electric and infinitely faster and about the cost of 5 GR Corollas. But Taycan Turbo GT, I guess we can just start with the actual underlying technology. It's a beast. 2.1 seconds 0 to 60, over 1,000 horsepower. And let me say, this is over 1,000 horsepower with 2 motors. The Plaid infamously has about the same number, 1,020 horsepower technically, with 3 motors. And Porsche's like, you know what? We could do that with 2. So it was kind of a funny, it seems like, in my video, which is also, I guess, dropping about the same time as this, it seems to be a bit of a back and forth bout between Porsche and Tesla, interestingly enough, because I don't think that many people are actually cross-shopping these, but they do seem to fight each other on who has what records. So Taycan Turbo GT with Visoc package just came out swinging. It beat the Plaid record, which previously had the electric vehicle record, I think, or a production vehicle on the Laguna Seca racetrack, famous racetrack in California, and also the Nordschleife, the Nürburgring, famous racetrack in Germany, and beat the Plaid in both cases. And it beat the Plaid, and then they're like, I can do better. So it beat its own record again, which is really funny on Laguna Seca. So yeah, this thing is such a beast. And we just talked about last week all the other Taycans, which were already stupid good and fast and updated. But now this is just taking it. Like last week I said the new Taycans like turned up to 11 or even 12. This one just turns that up even more. So new record times on the tracks, and part of that is due to just a little bit less weight in the Visoc package. That, like I said, adds a huge wing on the back, some more aero in the front, removes the back seat entirely, replaces it with like a carbon situation, just a carbon panel, which does have a little bit of storage underneath it, which is right here in the side. You can see this flap actually opens up and there's like hilariously small little trunk thing. So 137 pounds less weight than the Taycan Turbo. But that's what a beast of a car. And they of course showed it in this flashy purple color, which I really do like.
I do like that color. It is flashy. It is purple, and I mean, when you think about this EV, why be subtle? It's not being subtle with what it offers.
Yeah. So technology is part of the
Mhm.
reason they improved. They have a new 900 amp silicon carbide rear inverter on
Okay.
the rear. Yeah, newly revised rear motor. Infamously, Taycan has two-speed transmission on the rear, which is unique. Most electric cars are just direct drive, one speed. You just hear them whine up. Whereas Taycan literally has a gear shift, which some people think is dumb. I actually think it's cool. I think it adds to the appeal and the interestingness of this car. We're in this day and age where EVs are sometimes hard to differentiate. They're just all good. Like electric unlocks a lot of really cool potential.
Mhm.
But how do you make it unique and interesting to drive? Porsche
Mm.
has done that really well. So this car winds up and then like shifts and then winds up again, which is the coolest thing.
That is pretty
Um,
cool.
so the rear motor, more powerful, more efficient, and lighter all at the same time, and
Mhm.
allows for a lot of impressive capability, such as
Very cool.
slightly higher top speed with the rear transmission. So that's yeah. It's just
Yeah.
such a beast, and I want it, but starting price $230,000.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find you know, a benefactor. If you, perhaps that will be very, very nice to you. So I'm hearing that there's obviously changes to the performance driving aspect, even more incredible driving experience. But are in terms of the changes compared to just the Porsche Taycan with the Taycan Turbo GT, are there any significant differences in the battery size or the range or the charging speeds, or is it mostly focused on like just a more interesting performance, faster vehicle, more power.
It's really basically the same, and some of the speed really does come from just slightly lighter weight with the Weissach package. But the Taycan Turbo GT, even without Weissach package, has the more powerful rear motor. So that's the only difference from Turbo S. Turbo S has the same front motor as a Turbo S. They might have tuned it slightly differently, but same all new rear motor, which is again more powerful. I
Mhm.
think I don't remember the Turbo S's. It was like maybe 600 amp, and this is a 900 amp inverter, pulse inverter, whatever that means. They didn't give me a clear answer on that, but it's
Okay.
it's just more efficient, but still more powerful. Not crazy faster than Turbo S. Like, what's hilarious is just Turbo S is already so stupid good. And so they just like dialed it up just a little bit more. And that's how they were able to break the record. So I actually was able to drive this on the track in Seville or Sevilla, Spain. And I
Mhm.
actually was able to ride along with the driver, Lars, who set those records.
Oh, no
And
way.
he took me on a hot lap or two and blew my mind, which was also in my video. So, highly recommend
Awesome.
checking out my video. It was a lot of fun. It was very crammed filming time, as per usual with these events, but I was still able to get something out there and
Mhm.
had fun with it, which I think is, yeah,
That's what
important.
it's all about. Yeah, I mean, this is a car that is made for fun, for those who appreciate driving. Of course, Porsche has a rich history in motorsports, and it seems like that obviously that heritage continues to influence the development of this Taycan is, performance driving and driving dynamics are a focus here. And it makes me wonder about like the future of racing and that kind of motorsports aspect that Porsche continues to participate in. And of course, you were ripping it around the ring around the track. And do they speak to that at all of these fun competitions and the sport of driving and how like the electric world is going to move into that space, or are we leaving it to the internal combustion engine side of things?
They definitely see electric as a future of performance. They still make fantastic combustion cars. I mean, famously, the 911 ST has been getting huge accolades from all journalists everywhere. But also, it's unobtainium. It's like impossible to buy. Whereas they're actually going to sell these. It'll be interesting to see who buys a four-door, two-seat electric car.
Mhm.
That's just kind of hilarious. But on the same time, you can kind of think of this as a four-door electric 911. I know it's not that's blasphemy to say, but if you wanted a two-door, or if you wanted a two-seat electric sports car from Porsche, that currently is Taycan Turbo GT with Weissach package. A lot of downforce generated by this aerodynamics, and it's just Turbo GT is just like performance over everything. Now, if you don't get the Weissach package, it's a bit more comfortable. It's like a Turbo S on the inside.
Hmm.
So you're not like completely stripped out. But if you get the Weissach package, I mean, that's almost hilarious to have a four-door car that only seats two people. But it's something someone will do. The
Hmm.
Taycan Turbo GT comes standard, I think, with the um, carbon ceramic brakes, so very capable brakes. Um, Victory Gold is the color calipers, which is funny. They made such a big deal about that. And lightweight, very strong wheels, more carbon fiber accents, and carbon fiber just everywhere. So they
Nice.
definitely did a lot.
Lightness. Hmm.
Lightness. But I also wanted to point out, I guess I'll let's see, share screen again here, because interestingly, so when Kyle did a video on the new Taycan, not the Turbo
Yeah.
GT, but the new Taycan facelift, I recommend everyone check that out if you want all the nerdy details. I'm obviously going to miss some things here, but um, he made a point of like, well, the new Taycans all have power charge doors, whereas before that was an option. The
Mm-hmm.
new one, they're all power charge doors, except for the Turbo GT. Um, or maybe it's just the Weissach package. I can't remember which, if it's both, but um, adding a power charge door means this arrow thing, this like vent behind the front wheels, is
Yeah.
fake. It's filled in. It's just plastic. It's
No.
it's not actually used functional. On
Okay.
the Taycan Turbo GT with Weissach package, at least, it is actually functional. You can see through the car. You can't really see, I guess, with this rendering, but there's a charge port. It's a manual charge port, and unlike all the other Taycans, there's no charge port on the other side. So
Hmm.
that's
Some
for weight.
choices there. Yeah. Okay. Again, trying to make it
Compromise.
as efficient as possible.
Yeah, compromise for, I guess, setting records. So
I'd say that's a fine compromise.
yeah,
Just
exactly.
really
So
cool.
I don't know. I am pretty obsessed with this thing, and I will literally never really have it. But hey,
It's a dream.
I think it's the dream. It's kind of exciting. So
Yeah.
can't go wrong with any of the Taycans, but the Weissach package just literally takes it to infinity, and I can only assume they will probably go tri-motor eventually to unlock even more potential. But I don't
Mm.
know, maybe they saw more challenges with tri-motor systems and they're like, no,
Mhm.
we're going to stick with a really beefed up dual motor system. I know they experimented with tri-motor. We just don't know anything about that, but I know
Mhm.
that was definitely a consideration because they've seen
Mhm.
other people do it and do it well. But I don't know. It's interesting to see that this is a choice. It's just funny
Yes.
how what I'm surprised is it's a very Porsche thing to like do like a Weissach package and charge more for it, even though you're literally removing things. In this case, Taycan Turbo GT starts at 230,000 with or without Weissach package. You can pick which one you want, which is
Oh,
that's kind of cool.
yeah.
If you don't get the Weissach package, by the way, you'll get an active arrow spoiler, so like a dovetail spoiler that actually flips up and deploys when you're at high speed or something like that. So
Wow, crazy.
yeah,
So much fun. I mean, I can only imagine. Of course, these cars are made for the fun driving, the driving experience, and also the teams must be having, the a really interesting time with these creative challenges and problem solving with how to create really, really efficient and driving performance enhanced electric vehicles. What do you think about Porsche's take in general with their electric line from what you've seen so far? This seems like this is really like their top offering so far in terms of electric. Would you agree?
yeah, they're just killing it. I mean, Macan EV is out or coming out, and it's a their second EV, I guess, and that's gonna be phenomenal. But it's like funny how it's like not quite as good as Taycan as far as all the underlying architecture, whereas the vehicle that shares that PPE platform, the Audi Q6 e-tron, that will be Audi's like best electric car, sort of. I mean, Audi does also have a car sharing Taycan platform, but I don't know what the sales numbers of those are, but it can't be that high. I almost never see those, whereas I'm starting to see Taycans fairly often. But I am talk about a brand where I'm extremely excited about their electric future. Some other
Yeah.
ones are interesting. I mean, it's like Rolls-Royce is almost funny because you can't even necessarily tell which one's electric and which one has a V12 because they both sound infinitely quiet. Um, so it's like, well, that's not doing much. Mercedes actually somewhat similar. Their electric cars aren't super fast. I mean, some of them can be fast, but it's just like performance is not really the point. Like it's just making an already refined gas car a bit more refined.
Mhm.
So, and I don't know, the legacy manufacturers, I'm not as intrigued by their offerings, but like Porsche has my heart and soul. So I'm extremely excited for anytime I see a Taycan, I'm just like, wow, they have great taste. I know it's
Yeah.
compromised in some ways. It's not like the most roomy interior, but I
Mhm.
feel like it's the closest thing we have to like a proper electric sports car until we start seeing battery technology improve and giving us smaller and smaller vehicles with still decent efficiency. I mean, still my favorite electric car I've ever driven was Tesla Roadster, but I don't know, Taycan Turbo GT with Vice-Lock packages up there.
Yeah, sounds like you're in love, Jordan, with the Porsche offerings, which I understand, and I'm sure our audience does, but I'd love to know what y'all think about this really incredibly, like, extreme option from Porsche in the great ways, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and make sure to check out Jordan's video that is him in Spain really interacting with these EVs from Porsche. I think it's really cool, and yeah, hope to get at least some experience with any Taycan soon, personally. But yeah, thank you, Jordan, for coming on and telling us all about it.
Yeah, I'm hoping somehow people, even if you're not able to buy one, maybe just have a test ride or meet someone
Yeah.
with a Taycan and like get in it once you find one with the Porsche Active Ride. Because like we talked about heavily in the last episode, the Active Ride is so fascinating to use. So I think that's something
Mhm.
that's fun. And even like I said, the the two-speed gearbox is interesting. I don't know if it's better to have that or not, but it's interesting, which makes me happy. And then the push
Mhm.
to pass function that we saw in earlier the other Taycans, Taycan Turbo GT has what's called attack mode. That actually gives you like
Yep.
paddles. One paddle can control, I think, regen amount. The other paddle can enable attack mode, which is basically the same as push to pass, but instead of having 10 seconds of boost with like 10 seconds of cooldown time, you get 10 seconds of even more boost with only 4 seconds of cooldown time. So I also recommend, my video I tried to make kind of fun, but like the real videos that were really fun are the ones Porsche themselves made of these records on track being broken. And you can actually
Yeah.
see when Lars is using the attack mode and stuff.
Ooh,
They have really
cool.
cool graphics on the screen. It's just really interesting to watch. So I can recommend those as well. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of my brief driving look impressions of Taycan Turbo GT, and check out the video for even more information. But there's obviously things we're going to miss. There's just so much to cover with new Taycan. So leave comments below if you
Mhm.
want to know something specific that maybe we forgot to call out, and we can hopefully give you an answer.
Yes, definitely. Thank you everyone for tuning in to hear Jordan just absolutely gush over the Porsche Taycan. Of course, we touched on just the Taycan last week, and then this was the Taycan Turbo GT. So varied options, really impressive stuff from Porsche. And like he said, let us know what you think. Let us know what questions you have. Hope you have a great rest of your day, feeling like you're driving around in just the most amazing EV ever. Jordan has his heart's floating up. He is in love. Hopefully, y'all are feeling in love today too with life. We'll see you next time on the next episode. Catch you then. Bye bye.